Hey there, it's me, ya boy, your favorite YouTuber you have never heard about before, and welcome to r/Tales from Retail. I've got two cool stories for you, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Customer tried to report me for no reason. This is one of the two stories and it's a pretty long one, so get ready for it. I was reminded about the story during a conversation I had today, so I thought I'd share it. Again, for context, I work at a fabric and craft store. Not only do I work the front registers, but I'm also in the craft department. Or not really anymore, that's another story. About midway last year, for the first time since I started working about 4 years ago, we reworked the whole of craft. We pretty much moved everything where it was to another part of the department, so regulars and other customers, and not to forget most of the staff who had visited the store before, were a little confused where everything was, and rightfully so, because so were we. For the sake of the story, I'm gonna need to address where we stock a particular Papercraft machine that can only be bought in my country from our franchise, unless you ordered from an online store. All the accessories for this machine used to be at the front of the department before the move. The issue was that we were getting more stock in that we could display, so all the products were moved into one of the larger aisles during the rework to allow for more room, thankfully. In its place were going to be our artist paints and calligraphy section. This is where our story begins. On a weekend morning, my manager and I are stacking the now empty shelves at the front of the department, exactly where the machine and accessories used to be. Whenever we are asked a question, my manager tends to take the reins. She has this unspoken rule where anyone who is working with her isn't allowed to talk to a customer for more than a minute, so that we are able to get everything done that she wants us to do. We didn't have many questions up to this point, and I've had to escort one or two customers across the department to find something, but other than that, we haven't had much trouble at all. About 45 minutes into stacking these shelves, a couple approaches us. "Where did all the Papercraft Machine things go?" "It's just down there, ma'am." I stand up from my position and walk into the main runway to point out the aisle. And by this, I mean I walk up to the aisle and indicate where it is, as they watch from where they were standing before returning. It's clearly visible with a large sign displaying the Papercraft Machine's name and has an obnoxious green color plastered everywhere. "But why did you move it?" She had a disgusted and frustrated tone in her voice. I was completely taken aback and confused about why she had gone from 0 to 100. Before I could respond, my manager stood in. "We have more stock coming in, so we've had to allocate a larger aisle to it." "But that's just confusing." At this point, the man angrily walked off. The woman followed suit, but muttered some kind of curse at me. Something along the lines of "fucking unhelpful bitch" or "what a fucking joke." It was hard to understand, but I knew she had said something of that kind. About an hour had rolled by after the altercation. I've had no trouble with any other customers, and neither had my manager. We had moved to another shelf at the front of the department, canvas. This aisle was in line with a pathway up to lay-by, which is where a store manager is most of the time. We're able to see every customer who lines up or any staff member who exits or enters. We aren't, however, able to hear what's being said. All of a sudden I can hear hissing and complaining coming from the lay-by counter. I look over and wouldn't you know it, the couple was standing there grilling the poor lady serving there. I should mention it was mostly the woman doing the talking. Although I couldn't understand what was being said, it was obvious that she was upset, angry and very frustrated about something. I assumed that perhaps we didn't have a product she was looking for and the lay-by server had dealt the bad news. The Papercraft Machine and its accessories were and are still quite popular, and at the time we had been running low on stock of some of the more popular products from the range. After a minute or two, the lay-by lady ducked into the office and out came the store manager. Again, at this point I honestly thought it was a customer going over the top and complaining about not having something in stock, because obviously we need to read everyone's minds and have exactly what they want in stock whenever they want it. However, it was only when I noticed out of the corner of my eye that the couple were pointing at me in the aisle. Did I know something was wrong? I instinctively looked to my manager, who seemed to have the same thought. She prompted me to continue stacking, so I did. A couple more hours passed by, the couple had left, and I had moved on to putting out more stock in our wool section of the department. my manager, out of the blue, approached me and ushered me to the corner of the wool section, pretty much the back corner of the store. She said that she'd been called into the back office and practically roasted and interrogated. It turns out that the couple we had an issue with earlier, complained to the store manager, and it wasn't about low stock as I had previously thought. They accused my manager and myself of not doing our jobs properly. Not only did they insist that neither of us had shown them the Papercraft Machine aisle, but an hour after their altercation, they accused us of sending them to my counter to find out where the aisle was, because apparently we didn't work in the department. I was dumbfounded. What had I done to make them try to report my manager and me for doing nothing wrong? The only thing I can think of is that they were highly inconvenienced to all the products have been moved 2 aisles down. I'd love to know if any of you had similar experiences, because this is just absolutely ridiculous. Rude and didn't try to help them find the aisle they were looking for. As I stated earlier, I did indeed show them where the aisle was. They accused us of sending them to lay-by to ask where they could find the product, as well as claiming that I specifically had said that we don't work in this department. Honestly, I sometimes don't understand people. All she did was trying to help you, but you rather thought, oh no, this Papercraft Machine things were moved down 2 aisles. Now I immediately have to try to ruin someone's career and their whole future in the job just because they tried to help me. The time a guy stole from one store only to sell it back to another store 20 minutes away. This all happened today, so I'll try to recap everything that happened. So around 3, this guy walks in looking to buy a PS4. I give him the used price and tell him he can make his own bundle with a deal we're having on right now. Now what I can assume to be his friend comes in and starts looking for a phone he says he dropped earlier. My associate and I have never seen him before. He looks around a bit and ends up leaving. All the while, the first guy was making fun of him for losing his phones when he never came into the store in the first place. This guy now asks to get 2K and UFC, and after talking to him a little more, I excuse myself to go grab his console. I come back out and he sees it's not in the typical PlayStation box. He asks how much it would be for a new one, and I tell him there's a difference of about $70 if you were to buy the new one. He asks to take a look at the console since it's used, which I'm fine with opening to give him a look at it. I set it down on the counter, place my arm on it, and as I am about to open it with a razor in my hand, the guy wrestles it away from me and takes off. As he runs, as I try to see where he went. I talk to the operator, give a description of the perp, and the police show up after I write an email to my district leader and the loss prevention manager. I've got everything queued up for them to take pictures of and get them on their way. But the manager on the phone store next door comes in and gives his statement. Apparently the guy was in his store before asking about phones, but didn't have an ID, so he left. After he ran out of the store carrying that blue box, he apparently hid in a bush until a car came to swoop him up, and they were gone just like that. I gave the police the serial number of the system, talked to one of the cops about playing Siege on PS4, bless that man, and get them on their merry way. Now, about 30 minutes later, I get a call from a district manager asking if I have the serial number of a PS4 because a customer matching the description was trading in a PS4 at a store about 20 minutes away. I give him the number and await the response. 2 hours later, guess what? It was the same dude, gave his ID and everything to trade in the system, and turns out he already had warrants out for his arrest for felony theft. And that's how I spent my day. How was yours? You know what, that gives me an idea. What if there was a subreddit for stupid thieves? Let me look it up if there's something like that already. Reddit, stupid thieves. Nope, doesn't seem like it. So, and if anybody wants to create a subreddit specifically for stupid thieves like that guy, I would definitely do a few storytime videos on that. So anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed and give the video a like and maybe subscribe to my channel to not miss any new uploads. So, with that all said, I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.